Okay, so I wanted to make this video to give you a reference for how to put a box and whisker plot into the graphing calculator. So I'm using the sheet from homework, and I'm using this problem number 18. Um, and you can just go ahead and enter those numbers into your calculator as while I'm entering them. So you might want to write them down or pause it or whatever. But we're looking at problem 18. Okay, so the first thing I need to do, I like to start with a cleared calculator so I don't get any confusion. I don't get any of those things that say like dim error or anything like that. So I want to go to the stat menu. So I'm going to press the stat button, and the first thing that comes up in the edit menu is edit. So in L1, you can actually put it in any of these. Actually, you know what? Typically it'd let you put it in L1, but let me show you how to put it in, say, L3. Okay, so I want to put that list in. So the first number was 2, so I type 2 and press enter. 12, 17, 20, and I'm pressing enter after all of these. 18, 16, 17, another 18, 10, and 22. Now, right here, you could say it says list 3, number 11. That's the blank spot that it's waiting for. So if I arrow up to the last number I put in, it should say that L3, list 3, number 10 is 22. So just to make sure that I want to just count that against how many pieces of data I put in. So I put in 3, 6, 9, 10. So that seems right. I don't want to make a mistake and put in a piece of data twice because it could really throw off my results, or miss a piece of data, particularly if I was putting in like X's and Y's. Okay, so now that I have this in, almost all the work is done for me. What I need to do is go up to, since this is going to be a graph, the box and whisker plot, I want to go to the graph menu, which is always right under the screen, and since it's statistics, I want to change the settings on the stat plot. So you can see that's above y equals, so I need to press the second key and then y equals. And I'm going to deal with the first set. You can plot a bunch of different things on the same axes, but what I want to deal with is plot 1. So while plot 1 is highlighted, you can see, actually, you know what? I'll show you dealing with plot 2. It's going to look exactly the same. So I'll arrow down to plot 2, press enter, and right now it says my plot is off. I want to go ahead and turn it on, and then I want to scroll down. Now you'll see if I try to graph it the way it is, I get that message that says invalid dim. That's because if you look at the kind of, so I need to quit, go back in there. If you look at the kind of plot that I have in plot 2, that's a scatter plot. Scatter plot calls for X's and Y's, and I only put one list in. So it won't let you make the mistake. So let's scroll down, and I want to arrow over to the right once I'm in the type menu until I get to box and whisker plot. It's the thing that looks like a box with whiskers. So I want to press enter. And you see how it says the default is L1 in the X list? Well, I want to go ahead and change that because I put my list in L3. So I need to press second and then the number 3. As you can see, it says L3 above that. And then now my calculator says that it's using L3. So I want to go check out the graph again. And you see that there's something graphed on there, but we can't see it. So we need to zoom in on the appropriate area of the graph, and there's a way to do that without doing any sort of zooming or changing the settings on my window any particular way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the zoom key and scroll down, and box and whisker plot is a sort of statistical graph. So it would make sense that I would go to what it says zoom stat. That zooms in on any statistics that I put in there. So I'm going to press enter, and there's my box and whisker plot. Now, the graph itself, the way it is, doesn't really do much for us because we can't see what the values are, and it would be very hard to try to line up the values down here on the x-axis. You might not even have a good reference for it, but it'd be very difficult to try to line those up with the lines in the box and whisker plot. So to see them, I want to hit trace. and it puts me right on the line in the middle of the box, and that is called the median. So if I arrow left and right, then I can see that my lower quartile, or Q1, is 12. My lower extreme, or my min, is 2. My upper quartile is 18, and my maximum value, or my upper extreme, is 22. Now, there's some other pretty cool stuff I can do with the graphing calculator. Like, I can use it to find the mean of the data. To do that, I want to go into the list menu. List is right above stat. So I'd press second and stat to get to the list menu, and then I would arrow over to math. And all of these different things, like well, you don't know about standard deviations yet, but you will. If I wanted to find the sum of all the numbers, I can do that. If I wanted to find the product of all the numbers together, I could do that. All of these different little cool things in here, but for me, what I want to know is what is the mean, what's the average of those numbers. So I'm going to press enter on mean, or hit the number 3, and then I need to select the list that I put in. Remember, this time it was not L1, it was L3. So I need to press second and the number 3 again, and now my screen should say mean, have L3, open parentheses. I just want to close those up, press enter, and the mean of that data, or the average, if I averaged everything together, is 15.2, which also looks like a pretty fair representation of the data. And that is a box and whisker plot. Just so you know, if you need to, if you do have long whiskers, and hopefully from class you remember that long whiskers on the box and whisker plot mean that you probably have some outliers and your data is not great, you can change that in the plot menu to go to the type and then change to a box and whisker plot with outliers. And hit the graph, and so you can see that there's one outlier over here, and that was actually the number 2. Everything else we had was 10 or above, so you can see how 2 wouldn't really make sense with the rest of this data. So if you have any questions, ask me in class or send an email to me, and that's that.